Alright, good morning YouTube. In today's video, we're going to be talking about another subscriber program. This is an upper lower, and it is like, upper lowers are my bread and butter. It's what I have been running for many years after cycling through a bunch of different templates, and it's the template that I found the most success on. So with this program, this subscriber said that his main goals are getting stronger while still gaining size. And with natural lifters, with the natural lifter not going to be using any type of external supplements or any naughty sauce. They really do need to lift heavy. Now, one thing that is really important, and I try to really explain this as best as I can, is the fact that heavy lifting, getting stronger, isn't the same as becoming a power lifter. A powerlifter is concerned with his 1 rep max on the squat, bench, and deadlift. And that is, if that is a goal, then that's cool. However, the goal for anyone, whether you are a bodybuilder, a powerlifter, or whatever, your goal should be to get stronger over time. And that doesn't just mean bench, squat, deadlift, 1 rep max. It means everything. So here, let's get into his program and kind of discuss how I feel he is going to accomplish his goal with this program. So day 1, from what it looks like, I think he supersets the accessories, but then on the main work, it is, straight sets, and that's fine. Like, that's actually really good. Like, generally speaking, some people find that when they superset on the main work, that they don't get nearly as, they just don't feel super connected with the movement, and that's fine. Me, I never really ran into that issue. With the bench press, for example, I always superset chin-ups or something of that nature, maybe even bicep curls if I want to do something a bit more low impact. But bench press, 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps. So let's see how his second upper day goes, because with the bench press, right? So for one, like, his goal was kind of, let's say vague, and that's fine. Like, the specificity of your goal is independent to you. It's just a matter of, for the review that I'm going to give, it's important for me to kind of know like where it's going. But let's see. On here, he has his first upper body day. It's bench press, 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps. That's a good range. And then on the second day, let's see, he has dumbbell incline bench for 4 sets of 6 to 8. Now, me personally, what I would actually do is I would switch the rep ranges. So the incline dumbbell bench press, unless it's just a movement where you really hate doing high reps on it, I think it's a movement that can actually benefit more from the high reps, whereas the actual standard bench would benefit more so from the lower reps. Like 4 sets of 6 to 8, that's 24 to 32 reps. And with that lower rep range, you can actually push the intensity more so. The bench press is a great movement for strength development just because it's usually the movement that allows you to push the most amount of weight. Whereas with the incline bench, you actually have a movement where you can get a deeper range of motion. You get more out of less weight because you just have less advantages going for you in that movement. So I would actually prefer that this bench press variation be higher rep and this bench press variation be lower rep. Next exercise on the upper body 1 day is the Helms row. So this is a like an incline bench chest supported dumbbell row, 4 sets of 8 to 10. I do like how it is trying to keep a 1-to-1 ratio with the pressing here, which is good. Generally speaking, when it comes to pushing and pulling, I try to keep at least as a minimum a 1-to-1 ratio, but I actually prefer doing way more pulls than pushes. Arnold press supersetted with alternating bicep curls, 4 sets of 8 to 12. That's fine. Lat pull down supersetted with cable tricep pushdowns. This is one of my favorite supersets because generally speaking, the lat pull down machine is attached to a whole apparatus of just cables, and it's very easy to superset cable tricep pushdowns. Here I would kind of, me personally, I always found that I just get better results from something like a overhead tricep extension. So maybe consider that, but by no means is that necessary. Cable chest flies supersetted with cable face pulls. That's good as well. For the rep ranges on these 2 exercises, since they're isolation, 4 sets of 10 to 12 is totally good, is totally fine. 4 sets of 15 to 20 is also really good. Here next we go into the lower body 1 day. Squat, 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps. So on this one, I want you to kind of apply the same mindset of your squat towards your bench press. Now, even like going 3 sets of 6 to 8 is a safe bet. as far as this, because like when it comes to heavy compound movements, they do take a huge recovery cost. And the bench is not as taxing as the squat, so 4 sets of 6 to 8 is still really good. But 3 sets of 6 to 8, so that means you're trying to do this for strength work, and that is very, very smart. Next, we have the Romanian deadlift for 4 sets of 10 to 12. I do like this. I like going higher rep on the Romanian deadlift. The Romanian deadlift is a movement that really does, it should fill in the gap left by traditional deadlift variations, so a conventional deadlift or even your sumo pull. So generally speaking, for the most part, most people don't really do a slow controlled eccentric on the Romanian. I mean on the conventional, but on the Romanian you can, and that is something that you should take advantage of when you do this movement. And doing it for high reps is also something that you want to do, because generally speaking, you're not doing high rep conventional deadlifts. Leg extension machine, that's fine. The leg extension is I personally don't like it just because like I have knee issues. Like that's me. Like I have knee issues. I've accumulated a bunch of knee injuries over time, and the leg extension is just something that I just don't play around with, because I have this like, to my personality, I just want to push heavy weights. So because I can push heavy weights, I will push heavy weights, and because of this, just how the movement feels for me, I will end up feeling pain later that day, or maybe even immediately. But the leg extension, it does hit the quads in a way that can't really be emulated through traditional knee flexion movements, such as squats and leg presses. So in that sense, it's fine. Since he's doing it for the 12 to 15 rep range, that means it's going to be fairly lightweight. And if your knees are healthy, who cares? Barbell calf raise superset with ab crunch machine. So with the barbell, are you seated? Is it on your back? But are you standing and then you're holding the barbell? But regardless, because it's such a short range of motion, you do want it to be high rep. Ab crunch machine, same thing. Abs, high reps. Unless you're doing a fairly high high difficulty, high technical difficulty progression, you do want it to be high rep. Next, you have upper day 2, so 4 sets of 6 to 10 reps. I really like 6 to 10 for the barbell overhead press. I think that is a great rep range for the barbell overhead press. The barbell overhead press is a movement very different from the squat, bench, or deadlift, just because the absolute amount of weight that you're going to lift over time isn't as high. Like, if you train consistently, a 500-pound deadlift is not out of the question. If you train consistently, a 315 bench is not out of the question. But as far as like, let's say top end performance on the overhead press, it's usually around like 200, 225. So that means you're going to be sticking like around like 100, like 100, 135, maybe even like not as low as 75 for quite a while. So it takes a long time to build up barbell overhead press strength. So you want to do a lot of volume, and 6 to 10 is kind of that end, like top end of the range for strength and size volume, in my opinion. Like 6 to 10 is like still very relevant to building 1 rep max strength, but at the same time, it's really good for building muscle as well. Assisted pull-ups, great exercise there. One thing I would personally do is just go AMRAP. Like for one, like if you do something like 8 to 12, like let's see, I think you have lat pull downs here to get your volume. So here I would actually just push it for a bit more intensity and do as many reps as possible, especially for something like a pull-up. Like if you do 4 sets of 8 to 12 with an assisted pull-up, chances are you're going to be using a weight that allows you to hit 8 to 12 reps, and that might be a bit too easy. You actually want to develop your ability to do body weight pull-ups, and that requires you to train closer to failure and with less assistance. So assistance is great, like I remember when I wasn't able to do a pull-up and I had to use assistance. But with that being said, I also wanted to make sure that I was able to get maybe 1 to 5 reps with assistance rather than 8 to 12, because then it's kind of like it doesn't get hard until like rep 7 or rep 10, and you kind of want to make it hard from the beginning, essentially, for a lack of better words, and be really close to failure when you're not necessarily close to failure, but like just like if you're gonna try to get better at pull-ups, train them hard, train them for intensity, treat the pull-up like in a high intensity movement. I think one mindset that was really beneficial is treating your pull-ups as if it was a deadlift, like low reps, high sets, something like that. doing that over time will definitely build up your pull-up strength. I'll make some videos about that in the future, and I'll discuss the things that I did to build up my pull-ups. We already discussed the dumbbell bench and dumbbell curl superset. Now, benching supersetted with curls is actually another great superset because I really do like the idea of supersetting a compound with an antagonistic isolation exercise. I think that's a great way to balance out the program, but also save a lot of time without being as fatigued as a more traditional push-pull superset where like bench and chin-ups or bench and row. But I would really advocate switching these sets and reps for the incline dumbbell bench versus the standard barbell bench press. Next, we have inverted rows supersetted with cable tricep extensions. Same thing, very great there. Although with the inverted rows, like the inverted rows is a movement that you can modify just by the leverages and position of your body. So, you know, get more parallel to the floor to make it difficult, become more upright to make it easier. I would lean towards, you know, doing a variation that is as difficult as you can manage, and then doing as many reps as possible. And then for the cable tricep extensions, 12 to 15. Chest press superset with cable face pulls. So it's kind of, I always find it interesting when you kind of circle back to a movement pattern, because here, you know, vertical press, here horizontal press for the most part, and then here you kind of go back into a chest press. If it were me, since you were kind of like doing different angles and you want to have a more horizontal press, push-ups, dips, or a dip push-up superset, I actually feel like, or dip push-up drop set, because I consider it to be a mechanical or something drop set rather than a pure superset, and then doing cable face pulls, I actually think that would be a bit better. But chest press is fine, like it's fine, like it would work. Friday lower 2 trap bar deadlift, 3 sets of 6 to 8, no issues there. Bulgarian split squats, no issues there, and then goblet squats, no issues there. So it's interesting that you start with a unilateral movement, like, but there's actually like I can't really think of a issue with that personally. And then leg curls, 4 sets of 12 to 15, so high reps, good for building muscle. Now the thing is with, I would say for high reps, is the fact that if you like training for, you know, 10 to 15 reps, that's cool. But me personally, this is just me personally, I kind of like to do things where I just lift a little bit heavier and do like slightly less reps. So 8 to 12. So whatever I could do for 12 to 15, if I just add a little bit of weight, I can now do 8 to 12 and I get very similar growth. And then same thing here, same question that I had earlier. You have a arm day at home, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like how there is a row. So even with an arm day, you want to have some type of compound movement involved. So some type of row, some type of pull, some type of push like a close grip bench or something of that nature like a JM press. But overall, just a nice sweet arm day at home, nothing wrong with that. Now, you call yourself a late beginner, and I don't doubt that. I just want to kind of like understand where you're coming with that. And as far as my questions regarding this program, so getting stronger while gaining size. Well, what ratio of strength to size do you want? Because if you are more size focused, then this is actually a really good program. It's not super necessary for you to practice the squat, bench, and deadlift all that much, especially if those aren't the movements that you're talking about when you say getting stronger. Because getting stronger should be the feature of any program, and you can definitely get stronger with the program as it is currently written, but I would make some minor changes. Then if you are focused more so on strength, and then size is like the second adaptation that you care about, what I would personally do is, if that is the case, barbell bench on both upper body days. If that is the movement where you feel like you want to get the strongest on, then that is what you should do. However, if you just want just general strength and then a lot of size, doing a split like this is actually really good, because essentially you are doing not just an upper lower, but you're doing a kind of like a movement split. So I did this when I first started training, and I had like a bench day, a squat day, a overhead press day, and a deadlift day. And then, you know, the muscles that were trained on them would be muscles that contributed to the movement. And that's a really good way of building base strength and building a good base of muscle. As far as like your goals though, if when you talk about strength is squat, bench, deadlift, this is a program that is relatively, in the grand scheme of things, low frequency, low practice, and that could hurt you in terms of progression, because strength is a skill. Strength requires practice, and the less you practice, the slower your progress will be. But since you are a beginner, that means that generally speaking, you like, this is still something that you can still progress on. You can just add weight over time, and given that you do rep ranges, like that helps even more. If there were other suggestions that I were to make, it would be like, let's see, like you have a knee flexion and a hip hinge here, and then you have the same thing here, so there's nothing wrong with that. But I would like to see just a little bit more, like, I think, never mind, you actually took care of it. But here's the thing. If you can continue adding weight on all the main movements, so the trap bar deadlift, the barbell overhead press, the squat, and the bench press, then this is more than sufficient. This is a really good program. But if you're running into a plateau on a movement that you care about, and a movement that you care, like, that progresses at a fairly consistent rate, generally speaking, what I would recommend is that you just need a little bit more time with the movement. You need more frequency with the movement, and then we'll go from there. Because increasing frequency kind of adds some volume into the movement as well. But overall, for the purposes as you've outlined them, getting stronger while gaining size, every program should require you to get stronger, and this is a program that will allow you to get bigger. And I do think that since it's not like, going super crazy on the volume, going super crazy on the exercise selection, and the supersets are very manageable, this is, like I said, a good program. So good job. The only critique I would have is if you are more strength focused, this is just not as high specificity as I would program for myself if strength was the main goal. But since you are kind of trying to strike a balance between the two, so long as you can add weight on those main movements, you are totally fine. So that's it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have questions about your own program, I'd be more than happy to critique them and review them and kind of make some recommendations. Things kind of got busy yesterday, so sorry for no video yesterday. I will be posting a Q&A coming up, so I got a fair amount of questions this past week. So rather than just answering them in the comments, I also want to create a Q&A where I can share the answers, so that way people who come to the channel can kind of see, like, if someone else has asked their question, and they can get an answer for that. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Karel Saking, stancestrength.com, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.